know what's bad. Let us know what's ugly. Talk to us. All right, but first we're gonna jump right into it because a bit of news came out, dude. Okay, now I don't know if Adam, you or Herb are familiar with this cat, but Johnny, you seem to know Angry Joe pretty well. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, me and him go way back.
I don't mean personally, man. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I watch some of his videos. He's a YouTuber personality that focuses a lot on video game content. Does a lot of. He's mostly known for his reviews. So Angry Joe reviews.
Is this in the same league as like people watching other people play games?
No. You're talking about like reaction videos. This is a dude who actually does reviews, pretty much Jock and our style.
Yep.
But he has like costumes and stuff too. One of the more popular YouTube channels. He's been doing it since 2008.
You said Angry Joe?
Angry Joe.
I think it was
Angry Joe.
When you said something, I thought you were talking about Emotin Joe from from Mad Max. Yeah.
You know what? Hey, if we did reviews in just the Immortan Joe costume there,
yeah, we could be onto something. I think.
I'm down. I'm down.
Maybe
we play this game pretty hard. Just Johnny says mediocre. I say it'll fly off into Valhalla, shiny and chrome.
We should do that. Yeah,
I'm totally doing it. I've got the gear. I know Mix Macabre has the face piece.
Yeah,
this is happening. All right, we got plans. But no, the story at hand is Angry Joe is a very popular YouTuber. He does reviews mostly of games. He does a lot of other content too, but the reviews are like the bread and butter that have really gotten him like catapulted to stardom there. And a lot of folks tune in for those, and he released them at a fairly regular interval for the past 8 years. What is it? 2008.
Yeah,
wow,
7, 8,
9 years, almost 10 now.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like consistent content. And he recently, in the past few days, went on his channel and said that he's taking a break. Now, it's a lot of work for he and his crew to produce these videos, and they just kind of need some time off. He's got a family to take care of. They don't get to see people.
Is this his job, though? Is he getting paid through this, or is this something? Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the more popular ones. Pretty much by the time you get to that level status, like this dude has, I think it's just under 8 million followers.
Okay.
Just 8 million subscribers, excuse me, on YouTube.
8 million subscribers. Wow.
Yeah, for the reviews and stuff. And it's kind of wild because like this level of popularity seemed to cause folks to demand the material. Once this dude said, and I thought initially he was retiring. He was saying, "I'm not doing it anymore. Screw you. I'm out." And I'm like, that can definitely warrant the kind of negative response that it got. But it turns out he and his crew were just taking a couple months off. They even announced that they'll be back in September with more content. Just need some time off.
So he's just taking like a vacation.
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
Normal people do in their normal jobs.
Exactly.
Except for they don't have anybody to fill in. So like when he's gone, it's gone.
Absolutely. There's no substitute teachers here.
Right.
There's no substitute cosplayers and job suckers, and there's no substitute anger to step in. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of rambling. What I'm getting at is he said we're taking some time off, and the response was ridiculous. A lot of people sending him comments and emails saying, "Hey, you're lazy. See how dare you? You all are slacking."
You got to know your audience too. The type of people you're probably dealing with and serving on a day-to-day basis is probably not. They seem to be more to the troll type. At least that's what I'm picturing. Yeah. So that had to be kind of expected.
True, but sadly, that's like the majority of folks who use the internet to comment on. I'm not saying the majority of folks that use the internet, period. I'm saying those that are more verbal about stuff tend to be more verbal because they have beef.
Yeah, and they're just angry, upset little people, I think. Yeah.
Why can't they all be like lovely, calm, and collected, relaxed, mellow people like the fine listeners of the Geek Down and WEMF radio? Instead.
I didn't know what people were talking about when they said trolls for a long time too, because when I was a kid, trolls lived under bridges.
Yeah,
but everyone's like, "Oh, the trolls."
Had...
Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, there's disgusting people online. You pay attention to that? I'm like, well, I don't try to, but then I get sucked down. I mean, I've got it. The last thing you want to do if you're ever like really depressed, and the one that'll put the bullet in the gun is reading YouTube comments.
Oh no, dude, never read the comments. That's like a hard and fast rule.
That's get in the chamber real quick.
Here, I'll show you. Herb, what's the number one rule of using YouTube?
Read the comments.
Oh, stop it! You stop it right now. Okay, you stop it right now.
Read the comments first, and then form your opinions based on those.
Do not condone what this man says.
He's a masochist.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There. Well, anyways, Angry Joe said this. Joe Vargas is the man's name. Very popular channel. He said this, and people who've been longtime fans came out, and a lot of them were supportive, but even more of them were like, "How dare you just cut off the content like this? You realize?" you may.
I mean, it's just game reviews. It's not like he's, curing anything or actually providing like a serious entertainment.
Hey man,
well,
people
actually,
take this.
So
what's up?
Yeah, so his reviews, he actually does provide. He turns his reviews into
Wait, he's
sort of like
he's got the Cancer
entertainment.
review.
Well,
oh snap!
Yeah.
Yo, her, we need to step up that. Yo, man, I've got this review of Pootie Tang that will cure AIDS. Okay, I've been holding it in the chamber, but apparently you got to step it up.
So when he does a review of something, he'll go into his character, his Angry Joe character, but then he puts on like costumes and that is related to the game, and then he does like little
they do vignettes, man.
Kind of like vignettes, skits and stuff like that.
It's involved. It's entertainment. People really took a shine to it. And dude, I'll be honest with you. I like stuff like that goes the extra mile. I like to think that we do that too. That's why we don't just give a straight, okay, I reviewed this movie and it was good and this is why it was good and who was in it. End of story. It's like, no, we try to be entertaining. He does this too in like actual production values. They take time. They write scripts. They obviously care a lot more than we do. But what I'm getting at is this type of response warranted?
No.
Did this dude do anything to deserve this type of stuff? Well, where does that sense of entitlement from the audience come from?
Because your audience is a bunch of idiots. I don't know. That's all it is. I mean, I'm trying not to be too hard on people, but it's just if he might review games and he might do it in a really entertaining way and it might actually provide something in your life that you really enjoy. But to say like, hey, I'm going to take a break and to get like really violently upset about that, it's just like I said, he's just reviewing games. Even if he does it in an entertaining way, it's just like if you cut that out of your life, you still have a life. You know what I mean? Outside of video games, outside of watching things on YouTube. You know what I mean? So to be inspired to have that much vitriol to spew it out online at the person you appreciate, like something's got to be, you got to kind of screw loose, at least to me.
That definitely explains the 3% emoji video movie rating.
Why you folks? No.
3% of the people.
Yeah,
of the people.
Well, it's like you walk into a room and there's always going to be a percentage that there's some of them that are really stupid, and you just apply that to the entire United States.
Quick to disparage the audience in general, mostly because some of those audience are
sure, and some of our audience is dumb. It's just a fact, right?
Well,
it has to be.
My
young,
point
naive.
is,
there's a lot to it.
No, I think so, and it's the more I don't know, it's the more vocal that also tend to be vocal because they're angry. They have, and not legitimately angry. That's my problem with it, that they have such misplaced anger and, like I said, a sense of entitlement because this dude is giving you countless hours of entertainment for free.
Yes.
And I don't even know how long it took before they started seeing a profit on that.
Right.
So it's like that's generally how entertainment tends to work when you're on the internet, especially with cats on YouTube. And there are folks who have done stuff to warrant legitimate backlash. Look at that dude. I think his name is Jack Paul.
Yeah.
He was the YouTuber Jake Paul. Thank you.
He's the worst person in the world.
Oh wow, really? You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, lay it on us, man. Why is that?
Just, take a look at his face. Yeah. What are those? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Tell us how you really feel.
No, anyways.
All right. Well, I was gonna say the stuff that he did was more publicized, and that just ended up losing him endorsement deals.
Well, he lost. Is this the one we're talking about? Lost the Disney thing.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know the details of his conflict. You want to break it down for us?
Well, from what I heard, I don't know that much about him. I don't really, beat myself up like that in my free time.
You just said this man is the worst.
He is the worst. So he was doing had this house and he was destroying stuff all over his home for the sake of pranks, just to get on TV. Mm-hmm. And his neighbors tried to have this class action lawsuit brought up against him because to get him kicked out of there because he was such a nuisance. And he's just an overall bro douchebag type guy. So yeah, I'm all set.
Well, no, I think some of my best friends are bros, and occasionally a douchebag is functional. That's why they have an aisle at CVS. No. I do understand that, and I can see that. But in his situation, his audience still responded to that, and the worst that happened, or I mean, not the worst, but part of the consequence of that was he lost his deal with Disney. Yeah, they had a whole show dedicated to these types of cats.
Disney's better than that. Come on.
Well, probably not really considering. Well, let me get to that actually later on. But probably not considering that the audiences that YouTube stars generally target are not necessarily the same audiences as Disney
No.
Yeah, it's Disney
No,
shows.
probably not.
Well, in the cases of John Tron, y'all know this dude's name.
Yeah.
Okay, John Tron's another YouTuber. Came under heavy fire, and I think rightfully so. This dude, it started off as him defending a politician that was making sort of controversial, borderline racist claims.
Yep.
And then in his defense of dude, he started making his own claims, and we got a sense of how he really feels. It was along that lines of immigrants are watering down the gene pool. You know, if they came to our country and maybe they assimilated a little more to our ways and, you know, abandoned their own culture for our own, and
It's
then
like
maybe
a
we
eugenics
allow
type
them.
thing.
Alright.
Deeply.
So-
Like the guy
Yes.
from Doctor Strange level, it's like no, like, throws up the high hill.
So
All right,
in,
well, Joe,
in
go ahead,
very
Johnny.
slight
No,
defense,
defend them and ruin our
just
own
very
reputation.
slight.
Go
No,
ahead.
it's just he
Had
did
to
come out after that whole debacle. He did come out with a apology thing, basically saying, "I'm sorry, I am an ignorant idiot for getting involved in that type of conversation without being
Properly educated.
well versed." And yeah, essentially he owned up to his idiocy and said that he was not actually fit to
See, this is my
express himself in that way. And he sort of went down a train of thought
Mhm.
that sort of put him in that position when he didn't correctly articulate that he wasn't of that mindset. That's what he said afterwards.
It's not
Whether
that
or
hard.
he
It's not
is,
that hard to say.
different thing.
I am not racist.
well,
Of course, if you say racist stuff right after that, then we know you're
then
full
we
of
know
snot.
you're full of snot.
Yeah.
But that brings up the larger point, I think, and you're saying like he wasn't well versed enough to kind of defend himself and maybe being in that conversation. But we're talking about these entitled commenters and everything like that. They're entitled in the way that everybody thinks that they should have an opinion. They think their opinion is warranted. They think they should have it. And I'm in the complete opposite way. I don't think everyone should have one. I don't think you should have one, especially if you don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you should have one if you're not educated on the subject you're trying to talk about. I don't think you should be in there trying to duke it out with people you appreciate when you're not on the same level. I don't think everyone should be able to be heard and their opinion voiced just because they have it. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it contributes anything to the conversation. And so if you're not have that,
I'm
there
disagreeing
a little bit, but
heavy
this is
for
also
me.
why I advocate drunk talk, because you get a little liquor in people and you get them to actually go out on topics that are deep, that are heavy, and you get how they really feel.
yeah.
And sometimes,
but I don't wanna know
in the
that
case
stuff.
of, well, I want to know this stuff. I want to know if the dude that I'm supporting, the dude that I'm subscribing to his channel, really feels like, yeah, I'm scum of the earth.
Right.
If he didn't know that, you know, my skin was darker than his, my dollar in his opinion would be of less value. You know, people really feel that way, and I'd like for that information to come out. I think that people are allowed to have opinions, but I think they're also allowed to be challenged on those opinions.
Yes,
You know.
definitely get challenged on the opinions. But if someone has,
Thank you. Let's talk about Party Hard now. Okay, look, for the last I'm kidding. Sorry, long
Let's talk
standing
about House
debate
Party
we've had on
3.
this show.
so
You don't
for
like House
someone,
Party 3?
I do like House Party 3.
Then I'm gonna like shun you forever because I hate House Party 3. All right, go ahead, John. What's up?
Well, all right. So for someone having
For real, House
faults-
Party 3 though?
No.
Okay, we gonna have a talk
More
about
of a
this
class
later
act
on.
guy, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So how can you expect someone to? So if you're saying for them to not be involved in conversations, if they lack any information, like if they're completely ignorant on the topic at hand, they shouldn't participate because they're only going to provide false. How do you expect that particular person to learn what
Read.
is correct and what is right? You have
Read,
to allow
listen.
them to participate.
Well, he's not wrong.
And
The thing
share
is,
what-
though, we
explain
have
to
an
them,
epidemic of folks going into conversations when they don't have facts. Period. Even if it's that they've gotten only a certain amount of information, maybe they've existed in the bubble. Like we get this a lot, especially considering we come from the Northeast, and a lot of folks see this area as liberal and only liberal, so they assume that. A lot of us, when we get into political discussions, haven't done any research into other opinions, aren't getting information from other areas, and that's also a very limited point of view. I think we're going a little bit beyond the specific subject matter here. Let me just get this out. That's limiting the ideal that we only get news from local sources. You know, we don't use the internet for things besides, like, you know, I don't know, gaming, cat videos, and porn. You know, and the concept is the hard fact that a lot of folks seem to be negating, especially when it comes to politics, is that the internet is the primary source of information for most people. And even though a lot of information on there is false and BS, a lot of it also is true. And you just have to find ways to, well, you have to understand how to weed through the crap and use pretty much Venn diagrams to find out what is actually factual. And that's what you employ your arguments. That's what you base your arguments on. Right. That's where you get your facts that will support your points. And if your points are pretty much racist, like JonTron's were, whether or not you consider yourself a racist, other folks are going to, and that's how you're going to be painted. In the case of someone like Angry Joe, that's nowhere near what this dude did, yet the response he got from mostly his own audience was along the lines of if he was someone who had gone down that route.
Right.
You know, they made it something political, made it something almost personally attacking the audiences. When all this cat came out and said, well, in my opinion, all he said was, we need a break, we need time off, and partially time off to produce more content. You know, it got to the point where he had to turn off the comments on his own channel.
Yep. And so it's really, I think that's the main problem, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to have conversations of any higher level whatsoever on the internet, especially in comments. Comments are the most worthless place to have any kind of intellectual conversation whatsoever. So to me, it's a bigger fault of the medium being there for how the conversation's happening. The medium, the form of conversation is the culprit, is the issue. Comments are just a terrible idea right from the very start. And
because they're anonymous.
Yeah. They're anonymous, and anyone can say whatever it is that they want and not be cross-checked against that and suffer no repercussions for saying something that's outrageously stupid. So,
no, good point, man. I just want to remind our listeners with that, please chime in on our comments on twitch.tv/The Geek Down. Let us know what you think.
No, to sum it up, you remember the South Park movie where Terrence and Phillip go on Conan O'Brien's show and they're talking about the fart song and all the thing, and then Brooke Shields chimes in, well, I farted once on the set of Blue Lagoon, and smacks her. I think most people in the world are Brooke Shields.
Most people deserve that smack.
You know what I mean? Just like, what do you think?
I actually concur.
Just to make sense of it all.
No final word, Herb. You're awfully quiet over there. Any thoughts?
Well, I heard it once on an episode now.
All right. If you have anything to say, you can please hit us up at geekdownradio@gmail.com and shoot us a message. Let us know what your thoughts are on the subject. If you support Angry Joe, if you think this dude needs to get off his ass and produce more material, etc., or if you back up JonTron, please unsubscribe to us. And also check us out on twitch.tv/thegeekdown, and you can actually chime in live if you're feeling antsy, you're feeling froggy, you want to know what's up. All right, but now, dude, enough of this like heavy-handed stuff, man. I want to hear the lowdown on a ghost story, which I hear is a very light tale.